CNN.
In our health lead, it's not just pregnant women affected by the Trump administration's seemingly conflicting guidance on ties between Tylenol and autism. One pediatrician at Columbia University tells CNN that a mother sat in his office sobbing this week, wondering if the Tylenol she took because of debilitating headaches while pregnant caused her child's autism. Joining us now is Dr. Mehmet Oz. He is the administrator for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. It's so good to have you. Thank you, sir. So on Monday, President Trump at that press conference said nearly a dozen times, don't take Tylenol, don't take Tylenol. In a letter to physicians, though, the Food and Drug Administration said that a causal relationship between taking Tylenol by pregnant mothers and autism has not been firmly established. The HHS says doctors should use their best judgment. So why did the president say don't take Tylenol, don't take Tylenol, when it seems as though that's not the exact specific recommendation?
In his opening comments, and I was there witnessing it as you've shown, he very clearly said that if you've got a high fever or other conditions your doctor would recommend you take Tylenol for, take it. And I'll make this super clear for everybody, because of what the FDA said, what our fact sheet said, what our op-ed said subsequent to the press conference, released as we were finishing the press conference, all emphasize the same reality. As we find new information about problems like autism, our policy is going to be release it. Now, it'll take us at least 5 more years, Jake, to figure out for sure if there's a causal relationship between Tylenol and autism. We may never know it for sure. Even the company acknowledges that we don't know for sure what happens when we take medications during pregnancy. That's why there's almost no medications that you would take for a high fever if you're pregnant. And we want people to take Tylenol in that setting. But there's a large number of people, I argue the majority of consumption of acetaminophen, which is the chemical in Tylenol, are taken by women who don't realize that we don't have that level of security around its safety, and they have a minor ache and pain, or they have a low-grade temperature, which by themselves may not be a problem anyway, and they just pop the pill because they think it's not a problem. And when we began to realize there was a signal, and that's what we were doing, researching as much as we could all the sources, causes potentially of autism, we thought we should reveal that. And the president felt passionately. In fact, he kept saying, even one more day wasted before we tell American mothers to be thoughtful and cautious about Tylenol is wasted. The other thing we talked about, which was also critical to me, is a treatment if you happen to have a child who with an autism spectrum disorder diagnosis, which is a medication's prescription called leucovorin. And this is really important, Jake, because we have been understanding more and more about why children develop this problem, which is, I think, pretty clearly not genetic. A 5-fold increase in the incidence of autism in a quarter century is not from your genes. They don't change that fast.
In diagnosis of it, part of the reason, I'm not saying all of the reason, but part of the reason there has been increased diagnosis is because medical understanding of autism has increased. So there's more understanding and so more diagnosis.
Without question. But in addition, look at someone my age, our age. Bobby, Senator Secretary Kennedy's age. We don't have a lot of people in our lives our age who are on the autism spectrum.
Well, we maybe don't have many people who were diagnosed on the autism.
But think about it right now. If you look around at your friend group or people you grew up with, just think back in time. How many people who are, I'm 65 this year, I don't remember ever meeting a child when I was a kid who was on the spectrum.
But there just wasn't the same understanding of it.
Agreed, but even so, if you look around, you see children who have autism in many different settings with families. So I do think there's a real increase, not just a measured increase. But back to the leucovorin story very briefly. We found a signal that we may understand better over time. And it'll take 5 more years. But what advice do you give to mothers right now with a child with this diagnosis? If, in fact, a problem with the ability to folate, which is folate, foliage, B vitamin, B9, if that leafy green vegetable vitamin can't get into your brain, it turns out in some kids it's a problem.
But you would agree that don't take Tylenol is not the correct suggestion. It is, if you are a pregnant woman and you want to take Tylenol, talk to your doctor.
That was the first thing the president said. It's exactly what Secretary Kennedy said.
Yeah, but then he said don't take Tylenol 11 times after that. But in any case, I do want to ask you about something else, okay? You're very involved in the Make America Healthy Again.
Yes.
Which explores the harmful impact of ultra-processed foods and all the food that we eat that is chemicals and corn syrup and the like. What concrete steps, just so you know, I completely agree with you, 100%. What concrete steps are you and the administration going to take to challenge the food industry? Because I think that's where a lot of people who want this but are skeptical, but are they really willing to take on Archer Daniels Midland or Kellogg or whatever? Because that's actually where there's a political risk.
The secretary is passionate about this issue, as am I. If you look at my portfolio, which is the insurance programs that our government provides to its citizens, the number one thing we can do is get folks to never get sick in the first place. The reason we cost twice as much per capita to take care of Americans is we're twice as sick. Our obesity rate is literally twice more than Europe. So we have got to figure out the root cause of these ailments, or we're not going to be able to afford to take care of folks in the way we've gotten accustomed. So we are serious about it. As an example, we've got a food pyramid initiative that is aggressively moving forward, which you'll hear a lot more over the next month about. But the ability to get states to take action is a wonderful opportunity that we had not actually taken advantage of in prior administrations. When a state says, we want an exemption to be able to make healthy food part of the